Hello everyone, I dearly welcome you back again. As from my previous presentation, we basically dealing with primary source of education information. So in this video we'll be basically dealing with secondary source of information. As go, we move through the definition of secondary source of information. Secondary source is one that interprets, analyzes, summarizes primary source or events. In it is one step removed from the original material and often provided a broader perspective and critical insight into the primary data. As we move characteristics, interpretative. So secondary source involves some level of analysis, synthesis, or evaluation of primary sources. They explain or critique the primary source for the event that it represents. Evaluative. They offer opinion, assessment based on evidence that they may be drawn from primary source of information. Summary. They make summary of the information, often to explain the concept, to make the concept varies primary source. Connect. The third characteristic is summary. Secondary source summarize information, often to explain a concept or to connect various primary sources so as to draw more clear vision of the event. Contextual. Secondary source helps frame or contextualize primary data within broader trends, movement, or histories. The purpose of secondary source is contextualization. Secondary source provide necessary context from primary data. They synthesize information to offer a wider understanding of a particular event or idea. Interpret and analyzes. They help researchers to make sense of primary material by providing expert commentary or comparative analysis. Broader understanding of secondary source helps situate specific event or piece of data within a larger social thoughts, culture, or historical framework, providing a fuller picture. For example, we have books, historical books analyzing specific historical period or event. Biography that interprets an individual life based on primary source material. Journal articles as our second example. Articles that critique or analyze primary data such as research paper analyzing the results of a scientific experiment. Literature review summarizing previous research on topics. Documentaries, films, or videos that tell the story of historical event or individual based on articles, material, interviews, or expert commentary. Essay and reviews, critical essays that provide analysis of literary work, events, historical events often building upon primary source context. Movie or books review that interpret the context of a primary source. Reliability of secondary source. Strength as one. Secondary source offer interpretation and can carefully clarify the meaning of a primary source. They often draw from the multiple primary sources, providing a broader understanding by connecting. Challenges: secondary sources are often one step removed from the original event, so their reliability depends on the thoroughness and objectivity of the analysis. Scholar may unintentionally introduce bias or error in their interpretation of primary material, which makes them not all that is clear. Example of secondary sourced in various fields. Secondary sourced book analyzed a book analyzing Churchill's speech and their impact on the public moral during the war. Literature: a scholarly article interpreting themes in elements such as madness of the tragic hero. Secondary sourced science: a research paper analyzing several experiments, drawing conclusions about a scientific history. In art: a document or article discussing Van Gogh's techniques and cultural significance of the Starry Night. So now here are the characteristics of, here are the advantage and disadvantage of secondary source. As we see, as pros, as advantage: provide critical analysis and comprehensive overviews, help connect dots between different pieces of primary evidence, easier to access and understand than raw primary data. And the cons as disadvantage: can introduce misinterpretation or biasness, as second-hand accounts, so they lacked the immediacy and authenticity of primary source. So here we can do a conclusion as secondary source, on the other hand, interprets and analyze this primary information, offering a broader context, ridicule, and or synthesize the information. Secondary source information are indispensable for a robust and balanced understanding of the topics, and researchers typically use them to support their work. So thank you for listening. I wish you the best until we have our next video that's basically about plagiarism. So I wish you the best.